Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope everyone is okay. In today's episode, I want to talk about a text that is both very simple in its form and incredibly powerful in its meaning. The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. This is a book I often return to, and each time I read it, I notice something different. It's written as a series of very short vignettes, almost like fragments of memory rather than a traditional novel. And I think that form is very important because it reflects how identity itself is not something fixed or complete, but something that is constantly forming. At the center of the book is Esperanza, a young Latina girl growing up in Chicago. Through her voice, we experience not just her personal story, but also the social and cultural environment she is part of it. We see how space, language, gender, and class all shape her understanding of herself and her place in the world. What I find especially striking is how Cisneros uses very simple language to express very complex ideas. The sentences are short, sometimes almost poetic, but they carry a lot of emotional depth. There is a sense of honesty in the narration, nothing feels forced or overly explained. From an academic perspective, we can read this text through different lenses. For example, in terms of identity formation, the book shows how growing up is not just a biological process, but also a cultural and social one. Esperanza becomes aware of gender roles, of expectations placed on women, and of the limitations that exist in her community. And this awareness is not always comfortable. There are moments in the book where she feels trapped by her neighborhood, by poverty, by the idea that her future might already be decided for her. The house on Mango Street itself becomes a symbolic. It represents both belonging and limitation. It is home, but it is also something she wants to move beyond. And I think that tension is very important because, on the one hand, there is a strong connection to community, to family, to cultural identity. But on the other hand, there is also a desire for independence, for a different kind of life. Esperanza's dream is not simply to live, it is to live and return, to create a space for herself, but also to remain connected to where she comes from. And that idea is very powerful. Another important aspect of the book is how it represents women's experiences. Through different female characters, we see different life paths, some marked by restriction, silence, or unfulfilled dreams. These stories shape Esperanza's understanding of what she does and she does not want for her own life. So, in that sense, the book is also about learning through observation, through experience, and through reflection. Personally, what I appreciate most about this text is sincerity. It doesn't try to present a perfect or complete story. Instead, it gives us moments, small, quiet, sometimes painful moments that feel very real. And I think that's why it stays with the reader, because it reminds us that identity is not something we suddenly achieve. It is something we build slowly through experiences, through memories, and through the spaces we inhabit. If you haven't read The House on Mango Street, I really recommend it. And even if you have it, it's always one of the books that feels different every time you return to it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!